Hey, what's up, subscribers and fellow YouTubers? How are all of you doing? I am Mike, the CPA. Welcome back to Money and Life TV. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. In this video, if you're coming here to learn about water stocks, then you've come to the right place. Now, this is the first individual stock review I've ever done on this channel. And so if you guys like it, let me know in the comment section down below. I think we're gonna have some fun talking about this particular stock. We're looking at American Water Works today, which is the largest publicly traded water utility company in America. We're gonna be talking about what the company's about, kind of like how they make their revenues and whatnot. We're gonna look at some of the challenges they face going forward, some of the risks involved in their industry. Obviously, it's a utility stock. We're gonna look at in great detail at their performance over the last 6 years and kind of see where things are headed potentially. And we're also gonna talk just briefly about what competitors are out there against them. And also, last but not least, we're gonna talk about the future of water just real briefly and why I think water might be an important investment in your portfolio. If you guys like the video today, make sure you let me know by hitting that like button down below or by leaving a comment. And with that being said, let's dive into it. No pun intended.
Team is cold. And that's what I call high quality H2O.
I really wanted to introduce you guys to this stock because really it's one of the favorite stocks in my portfolio, especially if you like investing for dividends like I do. Not only do you get a nice dividend yield of 2 to 2.5%, which is not the highest you can get, right? But you're probably going to get some growth as well. It has a lot of upside potential. But over the past 10 years, because of the bull market run and whatnot, this stock has been doing great. Let's start off by talking about what this company is about. They are the largest, most geographically diverse publicly traded U.S. water and wastewater utility company in America. Their company actually dates back as far as the late 1800s, as you guys can see here. They employ close to 7,000 people, and their primary business, if we read this right here, it says it basically involves the ownership of water and wastewater utilities that provide water and wastewater services to residential, commercial, industrial customers, treating and delivering more than about 1 billion gallons per day. Their operation operates in approximately 1,600 different communities across 16 different states in the US. As you guys can see here, they have 72 wastewater treatment plants. They cover within pipelines, and their infrastructure covers about 50,000 miles. They have 527 groundwater treatment plants, just over 1,100 groundwater wells, almost 130 wastewater treatment facilities, 80 dams, 1,400 pumping stations. So as you guys can see here, they're pretty diverse across the US, and they're even have an operation in Hawaii. But mainly, they're more of an East Coast operation. Now, as you guys would imagine, water is a highly regulated commodity, so they are a highly regulated business. The services provided by American Water Works are heavily regulated by the Public Utilities Commission. And the Public Utilities Commission can dictate their rates, so they have to they can't just, as a utility company, and this is true for many other utility companies, whether it's gas, electric, or another type of utility, so they can't just raise their rates out of the blue. They have to get approval by the Public Utilities Commission before they can raise rates and charge their customers more money for their services. Just to give you a quick overview of their revenue, as you guys can see here, in New Jersey, that's where they get the bulk of their revenue. Roughly 25% of their total revenue is found in New Jersey. Pennsylvania represents the other 22%, and so on and so forth, with California only making up about 7.5% of the revenue. Real briefly, let's talk about their customers. As you guys can see here, that the bulk of their revenue and their customers is really coming from residential use. So people just who own homes, people who are living in apartments and whatnot, are the ones who are primarily using their water services. The next 20% is commercial use, and the next 5% is industrial use, and then the other services represent the wastewater management that they perform and just other water services that are involved in their business. Looking at some of their risks now, and there's a whole laundry list which I am including in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet we're going to go over here in just a second is free to download. It's in as a Dropbox link in the description section of this video. Make sure to take a moment, go down there and click that link and download this for yourself, and you can review all this research in your own time. But I've basically cut and paste from their financials all the risks and challenges that are basically facing this water company and water utility companies in general. And because they're highly regulated, definitely governmental and regulatory bodies can have a great impact on their business that could cause their rates to fluctuate, right? Every company, whether it's a utility company or not, is going to have its own set of risks and challenges. This happens to be the risks and challenges for this particular water company. Now, I'll let you guys read this in your own time. I'm not going to go through this with you, but there's one thing I wanted to point out, and I highlighted right here: fluctuations in interest rates. Now, the water company itself, as you can imagine, it has, like I said, it's highly regulated, and the kind of business it's involved in requires a lot of capital expenditures. There's a lot of underground infrastructure that's going to have to be replaced over the coming years. That is, some of the infrastructure is 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. And so there's a lot of capital expenditures involved. And in a moment, when we look at the financials, you're going to see that they have some debt. And in fact, they are highly leveraged because they have such large capital expenditure requirements. It's not uncommon for a utility company such as this one to be highly leveraged because there's so much maintenance and upkeep involved in their business. But one of the things that does affect them, and we can really watch this unfold, is interest rates. If we're as an investor, if we're looking to invest in a utility company, we need to be aware of what interest rate fluctuations are occurring. So interest rates can affect utility company investments in two ways. The first way is, a lot of times people look at utilities to provide income. So because most utility companies provide some sort of dividend yield, and most of them provide a quarterly dividend payment. When interest rates rise, what happens is customers, or investors, I should say, not customers, start to look at bonds as an alternative and maybe might not invest as heavily in utilities. The other way that interest rates affect the business is that when they go to borrow money, because they do have debt, and you guys will see here in just a second, as we are about to go to their financial statements, is that obviously it can raise the cost of borrowing, which can affect their bottom line. If they're having to borrow more money at a higher rate, obviously it's going to hurt their bottom line, right? So be watching interest rates and be watching utility stocks, guys. In general, utility stocks this year, the sector of utilities has been down. So you might be able to find some nice discounts in the utility sector, especially if you're looking to pick up a few utility stocks for your portfolio. All right, guys, let's take a look at their financials. This data has been pulled from their financial statements and also with the help of Yahoo Finance. And I've made the spreadsheet for you guys, and all of this, like I said, is free to download, so make sure to download it when you have a chance. So starting with cash, they're not in too bad of a cash position at the moment. They have about $82 million in cash currently at the end of 2017. Total assets, their assets have been growing steadily. If you look back here, I have 6 years worth of data, and as you can see, they've been increasing their assets every single year. Unfortunately, what has happened though is that their debt has increased every year as well. So their debt is at about $14,000. Their stockholder equity has grown from back in 2012. It was at $4.4 million. Now in 2017, it's at $5.3 million. So it's been growing. In terms of debt to equity, though, they're at 260% debt to equity. So you would want to really compare that to other utility company stocks to see where they land in regards to that. Over in this column, guys, as you can see, the average annual change. So every year, on average, their total assets increase about 2.5%. But their total debt increases by 3%, which concerns me at the moment. Their total stockholder equity has been increasing about 1.3% on average every single year. It's really important to me to see a company that has cash flow from operations continuing to increase, and American Water Works is doing very well at that. So back in 2012, you can see cash flow from operations was just under $1 billion. It dipped a little bit in 13, but ever since 2013, they've been increasing their cash flows from operations up to about $1.4 billion. And so every year, on average, their cash flow from operations has been increasing at a rate of about 9% on average. Let's look at their income statement, because this is very important. Total revenue here, I like to look at top line growth. It's very important to me as an investor to see top line growth growing every single year. Well, back in 2012, they were at about 2.8 billion. Now, but you can see, guys, that they've been growing that ever since. Their top line revenue is about 3.3 million. I've included the cost of revenue here. I'm not going to go over that. You guys can obviously read this with your own two eyes. They've done really well managing their cost. The cost it takes, their cost of revenue basically is how much money they need to spend in order to generate that revenue. If you look down here on this line right here, net income as the last line I've put together on this spreadsheet. So back in 2012, their net income was sitting at about, $358 million. In 2017, their net income has grown to $419 million. Now, the thing you need to watch out for, though, is that we've been on a downward income spiral since 2015, which concerns me. So I'm going to be really watching what they're doing here going forward for 2018. Because if we have another consecutive year where income is trending down, then that's not going to be a good sign for this company. They're growing their top line revenue at a pace about 3% a year, and their net income has been growing at about 8% per year. And that's because they've done a really good job of managing their cost of revenue. In 2012, the return on equity was about 8%, and it's been about that every single year. About 7 to 8% is what you could expect on average from a return on equity standpoint from this company. Earnings per share. So back in 2012, they were at about $2 in earnings per share. Now fast forward that to 2017, we're looking at earnings of about 2.38. From an earnings perspective for 2018, I wouldn't be surprised if they landed around this, depending on the trajectory of their net income, or if they're going to land between 250 to 260 is where I'm going to predict their earnings per share is going to land at the end of 2018. Let's talk about annual dividend payouts, because dividends are a huge part of why I invested initially in this company, besides from liking the company and its history. So back in 2012, you guys will like this, they were paying less than $1 per share. But now, fast forward to 2017, they're paying about $1.66 per share. This means that about every year, they've increased their dividend payout by about 10%. The thing I want you guys to pay attention to is look at the dividend payout ratio, which basically compares how much in dividends are being paid out compared to their earnings per share. So back in 2012, way back when, their payout ratio was about 48%. Fast forward to 2017, they're almost at 70% payout, which is kind of concerning to me, because I think for stability purposes, I would much rather see them pay closer to around 50% of their earnings out in dividends. So when it gets to 70% or greater, I'm kind of concerned about the long-term stability of that, but we'll see where it goes from here. So I wouldn't always expect a 10% year-over-year growth on their dividend payout, but so far they have. So far their average payout growth is around that. Return on investments have been pretty good over the past 10 years. Over the last 2 years, things have not been so good, but over the past 10 years, because of this bull market we've had, it's done incredible. So it's a 300% rate of return if you've owned this for the past 10 years. If you've owned this for the last 5 years, you would have made about 107% on your money, which is about 20%, right? Rate of return every single year. Last 2 years, though, have been pretty choppy as interest rates go up, and as this long, outdated bull market has been going for such a long time. I don't know how much longer it can go. But so we've only seen, we're not really getting a lot of growth at this point in time. Only about a 1.5% return over the past 2 years. And year to date, it's actually down about 7%. Because it's down from its high, you might look at adding a small position to this if you're looking to get into water utility companies or water stocks. So average 2-year return, guys, is pretty bad. You're only getting about 1% rate of return right now. But like I said, average 5 years returns is 21%. Average 10-year return is 30%. So you guys, real quick, just looking at this graph, is that right now it's trying to break out of this $86 range. With the support level, it's fluctuating between basically $80 to $86 a share right now is where it's at. If it breaks through here, I think we can maybe see it break 90 and start to go towards 100. Its 1-year target, according to Yahoo Finance, I think is around 91 or 92 bucks. So Yahoo Finance is thinking it's going to land around this area. But if it goes down, if things go south, guys, I think we're going to see some strong support around in the 70s. And around this area right here. We'll see where this market's going to go. I'm not sure yet. I know we've been in the bull market for the last 10 years, so most stocks have done pretty well. If a major crash came, where do I think it would land? Now, I'm just guessing, but if a major crash came, I would think this stock could fall as far as down to 50 bucks a share, or maybe even a little bit less. But that's if the market tanks, right? Could it go lower than that? Sure, but those are some of the key support levels. Real quickly, let's talk about some of its competitors. As you guys can see, American Water Works is at the top of the chart in terms of market cap. They are the largest, like we said at the beginning of the video, in America for publicly traded water utility stocks. Aqua America is next with a market cap of about $6 billion. Mastech follows that, and so on and so forth. There's also water stock ETFs out there as well. I can make a video about that if you guys would like me to. The bottom line, guys, with performance, overall, I think this company is going to still keep growing. I think it's still going to do well in the long run. Maybe not right now in the short run. It might not be the best time to get in, but maybe a starter position at this point. All right, let's take a moment to talk about the future of water. One of the biggest challenges in the future is to provide enough fresh, clean drinking water to the growing population of the world, and that's going to be challenging. It's estimated by 2020, by 30 to 40% of the world will have water scarcity, and according to the researchers, climate change can make this even worse. By 2025, an estimated 1.8 billion people will live in areas plagued by water scarcity, with 2/3 of the world's population living in water-stressed regions. There's actually a documentary on Netflix called The Future of Water that talks about some of this stuff. So when you get a chance, watch it, check it out. It's pretty interesting. By 2030, it estimates 5.2 billion people will need better sanitation at that point in time. So basically, guys, water's gonna, the demand and the need for water is increasing at a rapid pace, probably more than ever before. In a nutshell, guys, the way I look at water is that although it's highly regulated, some say that water will be the new gold or the new oil in the future, because there's going to be only a certain supply of water, right? But the population continues to grow. And so having fresh, clean water is going to be more and more challenging. And so I think a company like American Water Works is strongly positioned to not only serve those customers, but take on that challenge and also be supported by the government entities to help them do that, because they are especially in the United States. And maybe at some point, maybe they'll, get out of the United States or start to diversify overseas and use some of their technology and infrastructure over there. But the bottom line is that there's going to be more people than ever needing water. And this product, this commodity, is going to be in high demand, much more so than ever before. So that's why I think a utility stock like American Water Works is a safe investment in the long run. It's not performing the best right now, but keep your eye on it, especially if you're looking to get into the utility sector and interested in learning water. If you're looking to invest in dividends, I think this is a great play. But like I said, just do your own research, do your own homework. Don't invest in a stock just because some YouTuber told you about it. But do your homework, guys. Spend some time looking this over. Maybe look at some of the other water companies. I would look at Aqua America. You might look at ETFs that focus on water. Look at a few of those to whet your appetite. No pun intended. But yeah, I hope you guys. That's pretty much all I have for you today in this video. I hope you guys like the spreadsheet, because I took a lot of time to build it and to pull this information together. And so, but you guys can use this for yourself, download it. I didn't have time to pull all the comparative detail on all the water companies. It would take so much time that I do not have ample time to do that, unfortunately, guys. But I hope the information I did provide you here, you find useful. It's 6 years worth of data that you can kind of get an idea or a sense for where things are headed from a trend perspective based on averages, and just get a broader look at water in general. All right, guys, like I said, if you liked the video, let me know by dropping a like. Please leave a comment. I love reading your comments. Just let me know what you guys think of water utilities in general. If you own American Water Works, if you think it's a good investment, where you think the company's headed in the future, and just any comment in general would be great. I love hearing from you guys. And if you have not already subscribed, be sure to do so by hitting that red subscribe button down below. Every single week on this channel, we produce new videos in the areas of finances, investing, and taxes to help people become fiscally fit. That's what this channel is all about here on Money Life TV. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me here on YouTube and go over American Water Works stock. Hopefully you found it helpful. It was kind of fun to do an individual stock review. If I can make these better in the future, just let me know. This is the first one I've ever done. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. Go grab yourself a glass of water before it's all gone. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Peace.